3 farms. 3 families who thought the worst thing out here was the weather. Out here, the nearest neighbor is a mile of frozen field away. Out here, if you scream, the only thing that hears you is the barn. These aren't campfire stories. Every name I'm about to say belonged to a real person. Every one of them went to bed in a house they believed was safe. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why, in all 3 of these places, the animals were still being fed, long after the people were dead. My father found the footprints on a morning the snow was still fresh. They came out of the forest, one line of a man's boots, pressed deep, walking straight toward our farm. He followed them with his lantern all the way to the machine shed at the edge of the yard. And there, they stopped. There were no prints leading back. My name is Victoria Gabriel. My family has worked this land for as long as I can remember. Hinterkaifeck, we call it. The lonely farm behind the trees. It's an hour north of Munich by road, but out here, that may as well be the edge of the world. The nearest village is a walk through the woods. There are 6 of us now. My mother and father. My 2 small children, Kazelia, who is 7, and little Yosef, who is 2. And the new maid we'd waited months for, arriving any day. My father, Andreas, is not a man who frightens easily, but he came inside that morning quiet, and he bolted the door in a way I had never seen him do before. That was when the house began to change. At night, we heard footsteps in the attic. Slow ones. The kind a person makes when they are trying not to be heard. My father climbed up with a lamp more than once and found nothing but cold air and our own stored things. Then a newspaper appeared in the house, one none of us had bought, from a town none of us had been to. The keys to the front door went missing, and in the barn, a scratching we told ourselves was rats. Months before, the maid who'd worked here left in tears. She swore the house was haunted, that something walked above her room at night and watched her. We laughed. My father called her a nervous woman. I don't laugh anymore. The new maid arrived on the evening of the 31st of March. Her name was Maria. 44 years old, kind-faced, tired from the road. I showed her to her room and told her we'd start fresh in the morning. She thanked me. She had been in our house less than a few hours. That night, the dog would not stop barking. My father heard it first, a noise from the barn, an animal sound and a wrong sound together. One by one, we went out to see. The barn was warm with the breath of the cattle, dark except for the swinging lantern. And someone was already in there, waiting for us in the dark. I won't describe what came next. I couldn't, even if I wished to. I'll only tell you that the last thing I understood was that this had been planned. That whoever did this had been in our attic, in our yard, in our walls, for a long, long time, learning us, waiting until we were all finally home. Andreas Gruber. His wife, Cecilia. Their daughter, Victoria. Her 2 children, Cecilia and Joseph. And Maria Baumgartner, the maid, employed for a single evening. 4 of them were found stacked in the barn, beneath the hay. 2 more inside the house. And they had been dead for days. Because here's the part that has kept this case unsolved for over 100 years. In the days after the murders, neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney. The cattle had been fed. The dog had been fed. Someone was cooking meals in that kitchen. Someone was sleeping in that house. The killer never left. He stayed, with the bodies in the barn, and he lived there. And then, one day, he simply walked back into the forest he came from. Over 100 suspects. 100 years. Not one arrest. To this day, no one knows who spent that week at Hinterkaifeck. Only that he had been watching them, long before he ever touched them. I only went over to return a tool. That's the truth of it, and I've told it 100 times since, and it never sounds like enough. Jacob Wolf had lent me something weeks back, and I meant to bring it by. That's all it was supposed to be. A short walk across the fields on a gray April morning. My name is John Kraft. I farmed near Turtle Lake, 3 miles or so from the Wolf place. This was 1920 in the young state of North Dakota, where the towns were small and the farms were smaller, and everybody knew everybody's business, except when it mattered most. The Wolves were good people, German-Russian, like a lot of us out there, folks who'd crossed an ocean to break this hard ground. Jacob and his wife Beata, 7 daughters, and a chore boy, Jacob Hofer, only 13, whose family lived nearby. A house full of children. You could usually hear them before you saw the place. What I noticed first, walking up, was the washing. The family's laundry was still on the line, and it had rained. It had rained for 2 days, and the wash was soaked through, heavy, and nobody had brought it in. Out here, you don't leave the wash out in the rain. Ever. A woman like Beata never would. Then I noticed the quiet, no children, no dog. 50 sheep in the yard, unfed, crying at me. I called out. Nobody answered. I went to the barn first. I found Jacob there, and 2 of his little girls, half covered in dirt and hay, like someone had tried to hide them and given up. I'm an old man now, and I have never once stopped seeing it. I backed out into the daylight, and I could not make my legs work right. The house was worse. There's a cellar under that house, and a trap door down into it. That's where the rest of them were. Beata, 3 more of the girls, and the boy, Hofer, laid across them. Whoever did this had put them down in the dark and closed the door on them, like closing a lid. 8 souls in that house and barn, and I was standing in the middle of it, alone, with my heart going like a hammer, and then I heard it. Crying. Thin and weak and coming from a back bedroom. God forgive me. Part of me did not want to open that door. Part of me did not want to know what was making that sound. It was the baby. Emma, 8 months old. In her cradle, cold, hungry, hoarse from crying, but alive. She had been in that house, with all of them, for 2 days. 2 days and 2 nights, alone in the dark, while everyone who loved her lay still around her. I picked her up, and I ran. 8 people were murdered on the Wolf farm on the 22nd of April, 1920. Jacob and Beata Wolf, their daughters, Bertha, Maria, Edna, Lydia, and little Martha, who was 3, and Jacob Hofer, the 13-year-old chore boy, killed with a shotgun and a hatchet. To this day, it remains the worst mass murder in North Dakota's history. Only baby Emma survived. Suspicion fell fast on a neighbor named Henry Layer, who had been feuding with Jacob over, of all things, a dog. Layer confessed after a long night of hard questioning. He said that if he had known the baby was in the other room, he would have killed her too. But this has never sat right with people. Layer took his confession back from his prison cell. He said he'd been threatened into it. And many who've studied the case since don't believe one man could have done all of this. A whole family, a barn, and a cellar, in a single night. Layer died in prison 5 years later and took the truth with him. More than 2,000 people came to the funeral. 8 coffins, big and small, in a single row, and on the stone, in German, 3 words. A week before Christmas, my father did something he had never done in his life. He took all of us into town, bought every one of us brand new clothes, and paid a photographer to take our picture. We were tobacco farmers. Poor ones, mostly. New clothes for 9 people, and a studio portrait. That was a fortune to a family like ours. My mother didn't understand it either. But she was happy. We were all happy. We stood there in our new things, and we smiled for the camera. I've spent the rest of my life staring at that photograph, trying to see what he was already planning behind his eyes. My name is Arthur Lawson. I was the oldest, 19 that winter. My father was Charlie Lawson. And until Christmas Day of 1929, if you'd asked anyone in Stokes County, they'd have told you he was a hard-working, God-fearing family man. A good father. There were 7 of us children. My mother, Fanny, and the baby, Mary Lou, only 4 months old. Christmas morning, my sister Marie was in the kitchen, baking a cake. My father told me to go into town. An errand. He needed some things, he said, and I should take my time. I remember thinking it was strange, being sent off on Christmas Day. But you did not question my father. So I took the wagon and I left. That errand is the only reason I am alive. I've pieced together what happened while I was gone, from what the neighbors heard and what the law found after. I have carried it every day since. So let me carry it once more, for you. My 2 younger sisters, Carrie and Maybelle, set off to visit an aunt. My father was waiting for them behind the tobacco barn with a shotgun. He killed them both there, and he hid them in the barn. Then he walked back to the house. The neighbors heard the shots, but it was Christmas in tobacco country. Everyone was out hunting rabbits, guns going off all day long. Nobody thought a thing of it. Nobody came. Inside the house, he killed my mother. Then Marie, who'd been baking that cake. Then my little brothers, James and Raymond. And last, I can barely say it, the baby. Mary Lou, 4 months old. When it was done, he laid every one of them out with care. He crossed their arms over their chests. He placed a stone beneath each of their heads, like a pillow, as if he were only putting them to sleep. Then my father walked into the woods behind our farm. I came home to a yard full of people, and a house I would never be able to walk into again. They wouldn't let me see them. The cake Marie had been baking was still sitting there in the kitchen. Later, strangers would come from all over the county, just to look at it through the window. My father was still alive, out in the trees. There was a manhunt, dozens of men, the whole county, moving through the woods where I used to hunt. But he didn't run. They found later that he had been pacing in a circle around one tree. Back and forth, for hours, wearing a path into the ground. And then, near dark, everyone heard the last shot. On Christmas Day, 1929, Charlie Lawson murdered his wife and 6 of his 7 children, then took his own life on their farm in Germantown, North Carolina. Fanny Lawson, 37, Marie, 17, Carrie, 12, Maybelle, 7, James, 4, Raymond, 2, and Mary Lou, 4 months old. They were buried together, in the new clothes they had worn for that portrait. No one has ever known for certain why he did it. Some blamed a head injury he'd suffered months earlier. Years later, a darker theory came out of family interviews. One I'll let you look into for yourself. But the truth is, Charlie took his reason into those woods and left the rest of us with a photograph of a smiling family who had less than a week to live. Look at that picture long enough, and you start to wonder the same thing I have my whole life. Did they know? Standing in that studio, in their brand new clothes, did any of them feel it coming? Three farms, three families. The Grubers, stalked inside their own home by someone who never left. The Wolfs, found by a neighbor who only came to return a tool. And the Lawsons, destroyed on Christmas morning by the one man who was supposed to protect them. Every name in this video was real. Every one of them is buried under a real stone you could go and stand in front of today. If this one got under your skin, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which of the three would you least want to live through?